Dear students, in the previous class, I had given you this as homework. You are asked to write a dimensional formula for force in terms of pressure, volume and time. So you are supposed to get this answer. I hope you got this one. F is equal to K, P, V square, T square. Today I am going to start a new topic in mechanics, that is motion in straight line. See, this mechanics, it is a branch of science which deals with the state of rest and state of motion of bodies. So mechanics deals with the state of rest and state of motion. For convenience, this has been divided into two parts. One is called statics, another one is called dynamics. This statics deals with the state of rest or equilibrium of bodies. So statics deals with the state of rest or equilibrium of bodies. Equilibrium means state of rest under the action of forces. So you are going to study about this statics later. The other part of mechanics is dynamics. Dynamics deals with the state of motion of bodies. Again, this dynamics is divided into two parts. One is called kinetics. The other one is called kinematics. So dynamics is studied under kinetics and kinematics. This kinetics deals with the description of motion. What type of motion the body has. So you come across different types of motion of a body. So the kinetics deals with the description of motion, whereas this kinematics, it deals with the cause of motion. What makes the body to move? So it deals with cause of motion. So here, in this chapter you are going to study about this kinetics. In the next chapter you study kinematics. So this motion in a straight line comes under the study of this kinetics. Next, in the study of this motion of a body, whenever I use this term body, we have to consider a rigid body. Rigid body. So in the study of mechanics, we frequently use the term body. Body means it must be a rigid body. So a rigid body is one whose size and shape does not change under the action of forces. Say on this body, when I apply some force, if the size and shape of this body does not change, then this can be called as a rigid body. So rigid body means a body whose size and shape does not change under action of forces. Such a body is called as a rigid body. And also sometimes we consider particle. We also use the term particle. Particle means it is nothing but a point mass. Point mass means it has no extension. Its volume is almost equal to 0. It possesses mass, but it has no it would not occupy any volume, such a point mass can be called as particle. Actually, a rigid body and particle, they are ideal concepts. Practically, no body is a rigid body. Every body is elastic. So rigid body, it is an ideal concept. And also particle, it is also an ideal concept, because mass without volume is not possible practically. But here particle means it has point mass, so its volume is almost zero. So mass without volume doesn't exist. Therefore particle also, it is an ideal concept. So rigid body and particle both are ideal concepts. We use these rigid bodies as well as particles just to make the study of physics simple. So practically it is not possible to have a rigid body or a particle. That's why we can call them as ideal concepts. And further, sometimes we treat a rigid body to be a particle. We can consider a rigid body as a particle. When the distance travelled by the body is quite large compared to its size, then the body can be treated to be a particle. Say here, this is a rigid body. It has this much of size. When it travels a very long distance, several kilometers, the distance travelled by the body being quite large compared to its size, then this body can be treated to be a particle. So that is the connection between rigid body and particle. So you just understand what is a rigid body and what is a particle. Whenever we use these words, you should remember this meaning. Next, we are going to define the state of rest and state of motion of a body. If a body does not change its position with respect to the surroundings and with passage of time, then it is said to be in the state of rest. So here, rest means body does not change its position with respect to surroundings with the passage of time. When a body does not change its position with respect to surroundings with passage of time, it is said to be at rest. Similarly, motion. If a body changes its position with respect to surroundings with passage of time, it is said to be in motion. So, here body changes its position with respect to surroundings with passage of time, it is said to be in motion. I consider some reference point here, O. Here is a body. With passage of time, with reference to this position, if this is not changing its position, then this is said to be at rest with respect to this point. So, here is a reference point. With respect to this reference point, if this body does not change its position with passage of time, then this is said to be at rest with respect to this point. Suppose If this body is changing its position with reference to this point and with passage of time, then this is said to be in motion. See, the state of rest or state of motion, they are relative. Rest and motion are relative. Relative means it depends on the reference point which you are considering. ಒಂದು ಬಾಡಿ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿದೆನಾ ಅಥವಾ ಮೋಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿದೆನಾ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೀವು ಯಾವುದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಮೀನ್ ಬೈ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್. ಹಿಯರ್ you take a simple example. Here there is a bus moving like this. Here there is one person, here there is another person, here there is one more person. A, B, C. A bus is moving with some speed. There are three people like this. With respect to A, B is in motion because bus being in motion, B being inside the bus, with reference to A, B is in motion. When you compare the same B with respect to C, with respect to this person C, this person B is at rest. With respect to the person C, B is at rest because both are sitting in the same bus. So for C, B is at rest. For A, B is in motion. So what is the state of B? Is it rest or motion? That depends on the reference with which you are comparing. So with reference to A, B is in motion. With reference to C, B is in rest. So the same person is same. When you compare with A, B is in motion. When you compare it to C, B is in rest. So like this, whether a body is in the state of rest or in the state of motion, that depends on the surroundings, that means the reference with which you are comparing. That is why we say that rest and motion are relative. Understand? See, this entire universe is dynamic. That means in this universe everything is in motion. Therefore, absolute rest cannot be defined. That means in this universe, nothing is in the state of absolute rest. Everything is in motion. Understand? For example, for a person moving in an aeroplane, the person staying on the earth is in motion. For a neighboring person, the same person is at rest. And this earth is not in the state of rest, it is moving around the sun. Sun is not in the state of rest, it is moving in galaxy. Entire galaxy is in motion. Like that, everything in the universe is in motion. That's why absolute rest cannot be defined. So everything is relative. Rest and motion are relative. Whenever you say something is in motion, you need to mention with respect to what it is in motion. Similarly, when you say something is at rest, you need to mention with respect to what it is in rest. So like that, rest and motion, they are relative. Absolute rest cannot be defined. The next thing is, Motion means you come across different kinds of motion. Translational motion, rotational motion, vibrational motion, simple harmonic motion, like that you come across variety of motions. So in this topic we are considering only translational motion. Translational motion. If a body moves such that all points or all particles in it have the same direction of motion, then it is said to be in translational motion. I repeat, if a body moves such that all points or all particles in it have the same direction of motion, then it is said to be in translational motion. So, all particles of a body have same direction of motion at all instants, then it is said to be in translational motion. See here you consider this to be a rigid body. It is moving like this. When it is moving like this, every point in this body or every particle of this body, they have the same direction of motion all the time. Such a motion is called as a translational motion. So first in mechanics you are going to study about translational motion. Later you are going to study about rotational motion. So you are going to study rotational dynamics, rotational motion of a rigid body. Rotational motion means if a body moves such that a line of particles in the body remain fixed and the surrounding particles describe a circular path about the fixed line of particles. Such a motion is called as rotational motion. So if a body moves such that a line of particles in it remain fixed and the surrounding particles describe circular path about the fixed line of particles. Say you take this body like this and it is moving like this. This is a body. Say if it is moving like this, then all the particles of the body along my finger, all the particles of the body along my finger, they are fixed. So this is called axis of rotation. So axis of rotation is nothing but the direction along which line of particles are fixed. And when it is moving like this, if I consider a surrounding particle here, it will be describing a circular path about this fixed line of particles. So here, this is a body and about this point it is rotating like this. Then the particles along this line, they are fixed, and if I consider different particles in the surroundings, this particle describes circular path like this. This particle describes circular path like this. So this type of motion, it is called rotational motion. You are going to study in detail about it in the rotational dynamics. So for the time being, you just remember the definition of this translational motion. Next, to describe this state of rest or state of motion of a body, we always consider a frame of reference. See, rest and motion are relative. So, to describe the state of rest or to describe the state of motion, we need to consider some reference point. So, to take that reference point, we always consider the frame of reference. See, this frame of reference is nothing but it is a Cartesian coordinate system at the origin of which an observer is considered, and we express the motion or rest with reference to that observer. So here in Cartesian coordinate system in geometry, in Cartesian coordinate system you have three axes like this. So x, y, z. So this x, y, these two axes are in the plane of the blackboard, and this z direction, it is perpendicular to the blackboard. So which is shown like this. So all the three axes are perpendicular to each other, and this is called as a Cartesian coordinate system, and this is considered to be the origin. So in order to describe the motion or rest, always we consider this type of Cartesian coordinate system, and the observer is considered to be at the origin. The one who observes rest or motion, he will be at the origin. So we describe rest or motion with reference to this observer. Such a system is called as a frame of reference. So here a Cartesian coordinate system from the origin of which motion is observed. So a Cartesian coordinate system from the origin of which we consider the motion is called as a frame of reference. Now with reference to this observer, if a body is moving such that only one coordinate is changing, then it is said to be in one-dimensional motion. One-dimensional motion. One-dimensional motion means with reference to the observer in the Cartesian coordinate system, the body moves such that only one coordinate changes, but the remaining two coordinates doesn't change. That is called as one-dimensional motion. For example, a body is moving like this. Only x coordinate will change, y and z does not change. So it is said to be moving along x direction. Similarly, if a body is moving like this, only y coordinate changes. The value of y change, but not x and z. So this is said to be in one-dimensional motion along y direction. Similarly, if a body is moving like this, only z coordinate will change, x and y remain the same. So it is said to be in one-dimensional motion along z direction. Like that, one-dimensional motion means only one coordinate changes during motion. In general, motion along a straight line or motion in a straight line, it is called as one-dimensional motion. Because during the motion of the body, any one coordinate will change. So, motion in straight line. It comes under the study of one-dimensional motion. Similarly, two-dimensional motion. Two-dimensional motion means two coordinates will change in the frame of reference when the body moves. See here, a body is moving like this. A body is moving like this. So at a different instance, the x coordinate, y coordinate will be different. So two coordinates are changing. That's why it is said to be in two-dimensional motion. So two coordinates change during motion. This two-dimensional motion, it is also called as motion in a plane. Here you see, when it is moving in the plane of the blackboard, x coordinate, y coordinate both will change. Suppose if a body is moving like this, y coordinate, z coordinate will change. If a body is moving like this is xy plane here. This is xy plane. When the body is moving in this plane, x coordinate and z coordinate will change. So this is a xz plane, this is xy plane, and this is yz plane. Whenever a body moves in a plane, two coordinates will change. That's why it is called two-dimensional motion. Similarly, three-dimensional motion. That means with reference to the origin of frame of reference, when all the three coordinates are changing, then that is said to be in three-dimensional motion. This three-dimensional motion, it is called as motion in space. So with reference to this origin, if a body is moving in a space like this, x, y, z, all the three coordinates would change. That is said to be three-dimensional motion. Three coordinates change during motion of a body. So motion in a plane. You are riding a bicycle along a straight line. You are said to be in one-dimensional motion here. ನೀವು ಸೈಕಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಥವಾ ಬೈಕ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದೇ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಒನ್-ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್. While riding the bicycle, you are taking a turn in the plane of the ground, two coordinates will change, so you are said to be in two-dimensional motion. If you consider a bird flying in the sky, it is said to be in three-dimensional motion. So, to understand this two-dimensional motion and three-dimensional motion, first you have to understand this one-dimensional motion or motion in a straight line. Now we come to this topic. Position. We use the term position of a body. Position means nothing but location with reference to the origin of the frame of reference. Location of a body with reference to origin, that is called position. to path length. Path length. Path length means the distance moved by the body along the path from initial position to final position. So, distance moved, or sometimes it is also called a distance traveled along the path from initial to final position. That is called path length. Next to displacement. Displacement. Displacement means change in position in a particular direction. Be familiar with these three terms: position, path length and displacement. So path length means it is the length of the path travelled by the body from initial position to final position. Initial position ಇಂದ final position ತನಕ ಬಾಡಿ ಯಾವ ಪಾತ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಲೆಂಗ್ತ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾತ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಪಾತ್ ಲೆಂಗ್ತ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ಡ್. ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನಿಂದ ಫೈನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. So change in a position in a particular direction, this is called displacement. See here, this path length, it is a scalar quantity, whereas this is a vector quantity. At school level, you learned that physical quantities are two types: scalars and vectors. So scalars have only magnitude, vectors have both magnitude as well as direction. So this path length or distance travelled, it is a scalar quantity. Displacement, it is a vector quantity. To understand these definitions properly, here I take one simple example. As we are talking about one-dimensional motion, only one coordinate will be changing. That means either x, y or z. For convenience, I take only x direction. So this is the x-axis of the frame of reference. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದೆರಡು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ವೈ ಝಡ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋಷನ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೇ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಆರಿಜನ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಜುಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this, 6, 7 and so on the positive side, 1, -2, -3 on the negative side. I am not bothering about this y direction and z direction. Say, let a body be here, P. So this is the origin O. A body is P. Body is located at P. So what is its position? It is at 5 meters from the horizon. So to describe the location, we consider this reference point. The body is at 5 meter from the horizon. So position is represented by a single coordinate x here. So the position is equal to 5 meter. ಇದನ್ನು ಮೀಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ 5 meter ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Say let a body moves from O to P. Initially at t is equal to 0, t1 is equal to 0, body is here. After some time it has moved up to here. So the position coordinate here, x1 is 0, the position coordinate here, it is x2 is equal to 5. So let x1 and x2 be position of a body at a time t1 and t2 respectively. Let x1 and x2 be position of a body at a time t1 and t2 respectively. Then what is the distance travelled by the body? Distance travelled means length of the path from initial position to final position. So from here to here it is 5 meter. So distance travelled is 5 meter. What is displacement? Displacement is given by change in position. That means final position minus initial position. Therefore displacement delta x is equal to x2 minus x1. So displacement antandre change in position, that is final position minus initial position. This is called magnitude of displacement. Magnitude of displacement. And you need to mention the direction. So in case of one dimensional motion, from the horizon the body can move either in this direction or in this direction. Only two options. ಒನ್ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಒಂದೇ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಬಾಡಿ ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ವಿ ಸೇ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಇನ್ ದ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್, ಆ ಥರ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ displacement, and the direction is along positive or negative x direction. ಸೊ ಆರಿಜಿನ್ನಿಂದ ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಿಂದ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ವೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಬೋತ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್, positive or negative. So to understand the difference between this path length and displacement, I take these following cases. Examples. Example. In the first case, when a body moves from O to P in a time T1 to T2, T1 to T2, distance traveled. So this is O, this is P. 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, 4 meter, 5 meter. So distance traveled is 5 meter. Magnitude of displacement, or else directly write displacement. Delta x is equal to x2 minus x1. This is the final position, this is the initial position. So final position is at 5 meter and initial position is 0 meter. So it is 5 meter. What is the direction? Plus 5. Direction is plus 5. Second case, body moves from O to Q, say here, O to Q. Distance traveled, it is equal to 3 meter, because this is the length of the path traveled. In which direction we do not bother, because it is a scalar quantity. Whereas displacement, magnitude of displacement delta x is equal to x2 minus x1. What is the final position? Minus 3. Initial position is 0. So it is minus 3 meter. This 3 meter refers to magnitude of displacement. Minus sign refers to the displacement is in negative x direction. We shall take one more case. A body moves from Q to P or P to Q. We shall take this direction. So when a body moves from P to Q, from here to here, the distance traveled or path length P to Q means it is 2 meter. What about the displacement delta x? x2 minus x1. x2 is 5. x2 is 5, x1 is 3. So it is 2 meter. This is the magnitude of displacement. Magnitude of displacement is 2 meter. So what you have to write here? It moves from P to Q in this direction. That means in the negative x direction. So you need to write minus 2 meter. So this x2 minus x1, it refers to magnitude of displacement. So this is final position. This is x2 minus x1. Finally it is 3. 3 minus 5. So I do one thing, instead of changing this one, I write it like this, P to Q. That becomes easy instead of changing all these things. P to Q, Q to P, Q to P. It moves Q to P. Final position is 5. initial position is 3, so it becomes 2 meter. When a body moves from Q to P, from here to here, initial position is 3 meter, final position is 5 meter, so you will get 2 meter. In the next case, when a body moves from P to Q, just I want to show the difference. This side, distance traveled is 2 meter, P to Q, displacement delta x. Final position is 3, initial position is this one. Final position is 3, initial position is 5, so it is minus 2 meter. This minus sign is on account of the fact that this body is moving along negative x direction, like this. So 2 is magnitude of displacement, minus 2 means this minus sign refers to the direction. It is moving along negative x direction like this. You take one more example. Body moves from O to P and returns to Q. So at T1 the body is here, it moves from O to P and returns to Q. That means finally it is here. So at T1 it is here, at T2 it is here. In this case, what is the distance travelled? O to P and then to Q. From here to here it is 5 and from here to here it is 2, totally 7 meter. 7 meter. Then what is the displacement? Displacement delta x is equal to x2 minus x1. x2 is final position. Final position is Q, that is 3. Initial position x1, it is origin, that is 0. So it is 3 meter. You see, in the previous 4 cases, the displacement and distance travelled, they are equal. In the first 4 cases, displacement, magnitude of displacement and distance travelled, they are equal. But in this case, the displacement and distance travelled, they are not equal. This is 7 and this is 3 meter. So this is plus 3. That means it is moving, the resultant motion is along positive direction. So overall, you just remember that displacement means it is the straight line distance from initial position to final position, irrespective of path. ಇದು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬಂದಿರಬಹುದು, ಏನೇ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂದ ಫೈನಲ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Direction is positive or negative. If it is in the positive direction, if the displacement is to be shown by positive sign. If it is in the negative direction, the displacement is shown by negative sign. So magnitude of displacement and distance travelled, it can be equal, or distance travelled can be more than that of displacement. But distance travelled can never be less than magnitude of displacement. So distance travelled ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಿಂತ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಕೀಪ್ ದಿಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್. So this is the fifth example. The next one, sixth, body moves from O to P and returns to O. O ಇಂದ P ತನಕ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ at T1 the body is here, at T1 the body is here and it moves up to here and returns to here. At T2 again the body is at the same position. So distance traveled or path length from here to here 5 and from here to here 5, it is 10 meter. And displacement delta x is equal to x2 minus x1. So final position is 0, initial position is also 0, it is 0. So in this example you can see that though the displacement is 0 but not distance traveled. ಕೆಲವು ಕೇಸಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ 0 ಇದ್ರೂ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ಡ್ 0 ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ displacement will become 0 but not distance traveled. Not only from the horizon, even you take from this point, a body moves from P to Q and back to P. P ಇಂದ Qಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ Pಗೆ ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ displacement become 4 meter but distance traveled will become 0. So you try to understand the difference between displacement and distance traveled. In the annual examination sometimes you may be asked to distinguish between distance traveled and displacement. Distinguish ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಟೇಬಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. So mention the differences between displacement and distance traveled ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದರೆ ಆವಾಗ ನೀವು ಈ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ path length and displacement. We can write a table like this. Path length ಅಂದ್ರೂ distance traveled ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೇ. First one, it is the length of path moved from initial to final position. And here it is shortest distance or straight line distance from initial to final position. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ this is a scalar quantity and this is a vector quantity. Next, it is always positive because scalar quantities, for scalar quantities we cannot specify any sign. So here it is positive or negative. Next thing, it can be greater or equal to magnitude of displacement. Here it can be less than or equal to distance traveled. Next, when a body moves to initial position, distance traveled cannot be 0, but displacement can become 0. It cannot be 0 when body returns to initial position. Here when body returns to initial position, the displacement is 0. So if you are asked to distinguish between distance travelled or path length and displacement, you need to mention few of these points. Next, we have to define speed and velocity. You copy down these points. In the examination, annual examination, if these questions are asked, if you write this much, that is enough. So I'll continue from here in the next class.